EU downbeat after Johnson-Juncker Brexit talks. Britain has not proposed any workable alternatives to its Brexit withdrawal agreement, the EU said Monday after talks with UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson ended without a breakthrough. It said the meeting between Johnson and EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker failed to yield any alternative to proposals on the Northern Ireland border that the British leader has rejected. It said the meeting between Johnson and EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker failed to yield any alternative to proposals on the Northern Ireland border that the British leader has rejected. Johnson has vowed to take Britain out of the bloc by the scheduled date of October 31st, though Parliament has ordered him not to do so without striking a deal with Brussels first. Business and opponents of Brexit say living without a deal will cause economic chaos as Britain ends its open trade ties to the European Union after 46 years. After a weekend in which he compared himself to comic book super smasher Hulk, the British leader enjoyed the genteel walking lunch of chicken and pollock with Juncker in Luxembourg. Downing Street billed the Luxembourg visit as part of effort to negotiate an orderly divorce from the Union before October the 17th EU summit. Downing Street billed the Luxembourg visit as part of efforts to negotiate an orderly divorce from the Union before the October 17th EU summit. It insisted it had been a constructive meeting and said the two sides had agreed to step up the pace of talks with daily meetings between negotiators. It insisted it had been a constructive meeting and said the two sides had agreed to step up the pace of talks with daily meetings between negotiators. It insisted it had been a constructive meeting and said the two sides had agreed to step up the pace of talk with daily meetings between negotiators. It insisted it had been a constructive meeting and said the two sides had agreed to step up the pace of talks with daily meetings between negotiators, but the Commission gave a more sober assessment, saying that once again the UK had failed to come up with a viable alternative to the so-called Irish backstop border arrangement. President Juncker recalled that it is the UK's responsibility to come forward with legally operational solutions that are compatible with the withdrawal agreement, a statement from Juncker's office said. President Juncker underlined the Commission's continued willingness and openness to examine whether such proposals meet the objective of the backstop. Such proposals have not yet been made. President Juncker underlined the Commission's continued willingness and openness to examine whether such proposals meet the objective of the backstop. Such proposals have not yet been made.
EU down B after Johnson-Juncker Brexit talks. Britain has not proposed any workable alternatives to its Brexit withdrawal agreement, the EU said Monday after talks with UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson ended without a breakthrough. It said the meeting between Johnson and EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker failed to yield any alternative to proposals on the Northern Ireland border that British leader has rejected. Johnson has vowed to take Britain out of the bloc by the scheduled date of October 31st, though Parliament has ordered him not to do so without striking a deal with Brussels first. Of Brexit say leaving without a deal will cause economic chaos as Britain ends its open trade ties to the European Union after 46 years. After a weekend in which he compared himself to comic book Super Smasher Hulk, the British leader enjoyed a genteel working lunch of chicken and pollock with Juncker in Luxembourg. Downing Street billed the Luxembourg visit
EU summit.
It insisted it had been a constructive meeting and said the two sides had agreed to step up the pace of talks with daily meetings between negotiators. But the Commission gave a more sober assessment, saying that once again the UK had failed to come with a viable alternative to so-called Irish backstop border arrangement. President Juncker recalled that it is the UK's responsibility to come forward with legally operational solutions that are compatible with the withdrawal agreement, a statement from Juncker's office said. President Juncker underlined the Commission continued willingness and openness to examine whether such proposals meet the objective of the backstop. Such proposals have not yet been made. Compatible 兼容的 able to exist or be used together without causing problems. Be compatible with 与什么什么兼容或与什么什么和谐共处 Be compatible with are measures to protect the environment compatible with economic growth are measures to protect the environment compatible with the economic growth. President Juncker recalled that it is the UK's responsibility to come forward with legally operational solutions that are compatible with the withdrawal agreement. A statement from Juncker's office said. President Juncker underlined the Commission's continued willingness and openness to examine whether such proposals meet the objectives of the backstop. Such proposals have not yet been made. But the Commission gave a more sober assessment, saying that once again the UK had failed to come up with a viable alternative to the so-called Irish backstop border arrangement. 句子的主干是 The Commission gave a more sober assessment. Saying 引导了伴随状语，同时也引出了 that 引导的宾语从句。从句的主语是 UK， 谓语是 had failed， 后面是不定式做补语。Backstop 备用方案 an emergency precaution or last resort an emergency precaution back up 备用方案 back up backstop viable seeds 可存活的种子 viable 可存活的能生长发育的 viable 切实可行的 viable feasible 可行的
可能的、可行的 plausible 看似可行的，实际上是不可行的 plausible non-viable 不可行的 viable seeds sober 清醒的、冷静的 serious and thinking or making you think carefully about things on sober reflection sober up 醒酒 sober 使变得持重、变得冷静。But the Commission gave a more sober assessment, seeing that once again the UK had failed to come with a viable alternative to the so-called Irish backstop border arrangement. Bill 将某一样东西宣称为 Bill something as something. Bill 做广告把某人或某物宣传成 He was billed as the new Tom Cruise.He was billed as the new Tom Cruise. Bill 付款 Bill 名词钞票搭配 a $10 bill 一张10元的钞票 a $10 bill. Downing Street billed the Luxembourg visit as part of efforts to negotiate an orderly divorce from the Union before an October 17 EU summit.It insisted it had been a constructive meeting and said the two sides had agreed to step up the pace of talks with daily meeting between negotiators. Downing Street billed the Luxembourg visit as part of effort to negotiate an orderly divorce from the Union before an October 17th EU summit.It insisted it had been a constructive meeting and said the two sides had agreed to step up the pace of talks with daily meeting. It insisted it had been a constructive meeting and said the two sides had agreed to step up the pace of talks with daily meeting between negotiators. Gentile 文雅的、有教养的 gentility 有教养、文雅、上流社会 He lived in gentle poverty. Refined cultivated 有教养的 cultivated refined. Smasher 重击手 Smasher 非常讨人喜欢的人或物 A person or thing that is very attractive or outstanding. Smash Someone smashed a bottle. After a weekend in which he compared himself to comic book super smasher Hulk, the British leader enjoyed a genteel working lunch of chicken and potluck with Junker in Luxembourg. Chaos 混乱、紊乱、无秩序的状态 A state of complete confusion and lack of order. In chaos, the kitchen was in chaos, economic chaos. In chaos, the kitchen was in chaos, economic chaos. Businesses and opponents of Brexit say living without a deal will cause economic chaos as Britain ends its open trade ties to the European Union after 46 years. Strike a deal 达成协议交易成交 reach an agreement a consensus. Bloc 集团 a group of countries that work closely together because they have similar political interest. The former Soviet bloc, Socialism bloc 社会主义阵营 and bloc at war. You cannot dismiss these stories in bloc. You cannot dismiss these stories in bloc. Vow 发誓郑重宣告 to make a formal and a serious promise to do something or a formal statement that is true. Vow to do something. Take a vow to do something. Supporters have vowed to continue the protest until a dam is released. Promise, promise, war, war, promise, pledge, pledge, 保证许诺。庄严承诺的意思，誓不达到不罢休的感觉。war 发誓 ，promise 承诺 war 发誓 ，pledge 保证许诺，有庄严承诺的意思，誓不达到不罢休的意思。Supporters have vowed to continue the protest until a dam is released. Vowed to do something. Johnson has vowed to take Britain out of bloc by the scheduled date of October 31st. Though Parliament has ordered him not to do so without striking a deal with Brussels first. It said the meeting between Johnson and the EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker failed to yield any alternative to proposals on the Northern Ireland border that the British leader has rejected. 句子的主语是 it， 谓语是 said， 后面是宾语从句。从句的主语是 the meeting between Johnson and Juncker， 是用来修饰 meeting 的，谓语是 failed， 后面是不定式做补足语。而 that the British leader has rejected 修饰的是 proposals on the Northern Ireland border. Yield 提供 to produce or provide something, for example, a profit result of crop. High rate deposit accounts yield good returns. Yield to somebody, one self to somebody, give away to somebody, yield to somebody, 屈服于某人。Surrender oneself to somebody, give somebody to somebody, gives away to somebody, yield 产量利润 high yield 提供。It said the meeting between Johnson and the EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker failed to yield any alternative to proposals on the Northern Ireland border that the British leader has rejected. Withdraw 退出撤出。The withdrawal of the UN troops from the region is a right decision. Retreat 撤退 withdraw 撤退离开 withdraw from 从什么什么中退出 withdraw Alternative 替代物可供选择的事物。A thing that you can close to do or have out of two or more possibility. Have no alternative but to do something. Have no alternative but to do something. Is there a viable alternative to the present system? Is there a viable alternative to the present system? Is there a viable alternative to the present system? Substitution, substance, substitution 代替可代替物 alternative 可供选择的可供替代的 alternative emergent energy substitution Britain has not proposed any workable alternatives to its Brexit withdrawal agreement, the EU said Monday after talks with UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson ended without a breakthrough. Britain has not proposed any workable alternative to its Brexit withdrawal agreement, the EU said Monday after talks with UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson ended without breakthrough. EU downbeat 沮丧的悲观的 gloomy 沮丧的 depressed 沮丧的 pessimistic depression anxiety a gloomy they found him in a gloomy downbeat mood dull or depressing not having much hope for the future. EU debate downbeat. EU downbeat after Johnson-Juncker Brexit talk.
怎么概括出来了？啊？
EU downbeat after Johnson-Juncker Brexit talks. Britain has not proposed any workable alternatives to its Brexit withdrawal agreement. The EU said Monday after talks with UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson ended without a breakthrough. It said the meeting between Johnson and the EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker failed to yield any alternative to proposals on the Northern Ireland border that the British leader had rejected. Johnson has vowed to take Britain out of the bloc by the scheduled date of October 31st. Though Parliament has ordered him not to do so without striking a deal with Brussels first. Business and opponents of Brexit say living without a deal will cause economic chaos as Britain ends its open trade ties to the European Union after 46 years. After a weekend in which he compared himself to comic book super smasher Hulk, the British leader enjoyed a genteel walking lunch of chicken at Pollock with Juncker in Luxembourg. Downing Street billed the Luxembourg visit as part of efforts to negotiate an order divorce from the Union before the October 17th EU summit. It insisted it had been a constructive meeting and said the two sides had agreed to step up the pace of talks with daily meetings between negotiators. It insisted it had been a constructive meeting and said the two sides had agreed to step up the pace of talks with daily meeting between negotiators, but the Commission gave a more sober assessment, saying that once again the UK had failed to come up with a viable alternative to the so-called Irish backstop border arrangement. But the Commission gave a more sober assessment, saying that once again the UK had failed to come up with a viable alternative to the so-called Irish backstop border arrangement. President Juncker recalled that it is the UK's responsibility to come forward with legally operational solutions that are compatible with the withdrawal agreement, a statement from Juncker office said. President Juncker recalled that it is the UK's responsibility to come forward with legally operational solutions that are compatible with the withdrawal agreement, a statement from Juncker's office said. President Juncker underlined the Commission's continued willingness and openness to examine whether such proposals meet the objective of the backstop. Such proposals have not yet been made.